Hello. I've decided to embark on my videos now about the evil darkness in this world. I'm going to read part of the darkest chapter in my book, Voice for Animals. No further introduction. Hopefully you can hear background music, which I feel kind of expresses the extreme emotions in my heart. So this begins with a description of the place before the action. We are in a large indoor space. There is the gloom of grey light at the back from a tall, thin, dirty window. A sickly yellow smudge of light emits from somewhere high up. The ceiling is hidden in darkness. At first, no sound is apparent except the distant drivel of a radio, perhaps escaping from a slightly lighter corridor leading away behind us. In front of us, an unexpected construction. Firstly, we recognize it as a wooden water wheel by its size. It is partially submerged under the floor line, but no water. Leading off behind the wheel is another corridor, thin, low-ceilinged, with railings leading up to the wheel. Somehow, at the back, daylight seeps in at the far end. Facing the side of the wheel is a human figure, silent, shuffling on his stool, waiting, his manner brutish, uncouth. At the curved end of the wheel to the left, there is a kind of railing again, a ramp and concrete floor which looks dirty and has a dull sheen. This is the first realization that we are indeed in a slaughterhouse, guessing the dark, dull sheen to be puddles of blood on the floor. A second human stands here, morose, brutish, uncouth. The wheel turns. We hear clattering, thudding sounds. There is the head of a large animal protruding from the side of the wheel. Yes, this is the scene of a slaughterhouse, as in the video I saw. I chose to watch so to know the truth. Please read on if you want to know the truth. What I was seeing already was not what I expected. Now I felt a dread. I could not believe what I saw, but I did see that somehow a big animal had been tumbled into this big wooden wheel, and now its head was sticking out of the side, its ears flapping. I realized that the noise of clattering and thudding is the sound of the dear animal struggling inside the wheel structure, bony body on hard wood. This and all that I see hereafter is watched with terrible horror. Many times I want to look away. Maybe I even do so at times. The the gaps in my memory of this evil could otherwise be due to the strong desire to deny what my eyes saw, rather to believe that I must surely be seeing something more innocent. But no. In the end, I must tell you what I really did see. My mind did try to deny that this was a real head of an animal in the side of that wheel. My mind tried to tell me it was just a big bundle of dirty rags. That pretense was no longer possible when I perceived the terrible white of the dear animal's eye just in front of the now undeniably flapping ears. The wheel turns slowly. Somehow I miss the sequence of events here, but now I see the dear animal's head is in front of the crouching brute. I see the crouching brute make three kind of swiping movements with his arms in front, where he has the dear animal's head, throat facing him. I am aware of some glistening darkness spreading each side of the knees of that crouching brute. The dear animal flaps her ears, dark and glistening now too. Drips of what I know to be her blood spray and fall from her beautiful ears. Simultaneously, as this cruel brute stops the slicing motion of his arm, with the other arm he reaches, tugs and pulls at the precious animal's throat. I see he pulls out a whitish, ridged tube with a slightly wider lump at one end of the tube. At first, I do not realize what has just happened. I try again to deny what I have just seen. I am sickened. This brute has just cut out the voice and the windpipe of this dear, precious animal being. This evil deed is followed by the incredulous sight of the precious voice and windpipe being casually flung over the brute's own shoulder, across the floor behind, toward a large open bin in the corridor where the radio is still drivelling away in a room somewhere. The bin is overflowing with many identical tubes, and they're strewn, lying around on the surrounding floor. It dawns on me with sudden terrible heartache that this overflowing bin is filled with the dear voices of the many precious animal beings who have passed through here before. Also, the floor is covered with these dear voices, now dead voices. I ask, why? And then I realize why. These evil cowards have cut out these beautiful voices from the throats of the living animals, so as not to have the screams and cries while they torture further and slaughter afterwards. This act is simply to ease their workload. I wonder also why I did not hear the dear animal earlier, before she was forced into the wheel. I can only suppose she was silenced by shock, or maybe my own hearing was shut down by my own early reactions here. Dear readers, I must take a break from writing at this point, though I do not suffer the same torment now in going over this experience again, as in the initial stages of trying to produce this work of truth. I do need to stop to remind myself that I can find the strength to continue. So it's next day now. I have decided that this Voice for Animals work does need to be produced in some separate chapters due to the intense energy required of me in the writing processes. Now, 3 days on. Oh my dear God, this task is great indeed. It is evening as I write this, not the right time to begin again. So I have a block of solidarity time very soon, solitary time very soon. I will write then, and I think I produce the next piece as a more stream of consciousness essay, rather than attempt a more structured narrative, thus allowing the simple copying of notes and so saving time. It is urgent to get finished and share this work. I would like you to know that I had the chance to share this work as an improvisational performance work at a spoken word event. I took the chance. It was a success. It had impact. And I believe that event needed to happen for me in order to be ready to finish this writing for animals. So you see, next page, from my solitary writer's hovel. Throughout this work, I have referred to the dear animal with that generic term, animal. In fact, that is all we need to know. It matters not which species, age, gender, or any classification. Cruelty, slaughter, murder, evil, torture, it's all the same impact, whoever is the animal being. However, I do believe that this dear animal, of whom I speak currently, was a young bovine animal being. She was originally white in colour, and there was no time, as well as no need, to know whether she was in fact female. The suffering is the same, whichever gender. So I refer to her as female, as this somewhat reflects the awful vulnerability of her situation, of being cruelly tortured at the hands of a human who has chosen evil over compassion and goodness. So now, I'm going to turn that telephone off because I can't stop this flow. Only this one time did I see this torture, this evil cruelty. Only once is all I need. I saw them cut her. I saw her blood. Cut, cut, cut again across her sensitive neck. And from that beautiful neck he ripped out her voice. He flings that beautiful innocent voice across the room behind him. He flings that wonderful voice into the big bin. It overflows with all the other voices of all the precious animal beings here before. She bleeds and is now silent. Her head hangs from the side of the wheel of torture. She is upside down, her ears still flap. She is silent. Then the wheel turns. I hear the sounds of her beautiful body thudding, banging, clattering. Then she tumbles out onto the concrete floor with a dull, crashing, breaking sound. She struggles, is on her side at first, twisted, turning, sliding on the blood-covered concrete floor. Her blood now joins with the blood of those who were here before. She, once white, she the innocent and pure, her body now contorted, her head now flailing, the great gash in her neck making her head flop awkwardly around. She is trying to right herself, to rise, to stand. She rises, her head all awry, white coat mottled with her blood. She stands. She now the determined survivor. She now the brave. She stands, neck sliced open, voice gone. And then the unthinkable, the brutish human standing over her. He takes a metal rod in his cruel hand. He raises the rod. This brutal human wields the rod against the back legs of that beautiful, innocent, now tortured animal being. The innocent, now tortured animal being is knocked off her feet by the brute with his metal rod. She flips over. Why do they always want to ring when I'm doing some work? I'm going to persevere. I don't want to stop. The innocent, now tortured animal being is knocked off her feet by the brute with his metal rod. She flips over, somersaults almost, twists, slides, struggles again to raise herself off the bloodied floor, head flopping strangely about. There are sounds of her bony body crashing and breaking on concrete. Otherwise, silence. She does raise herself yet again, body all awry. Again she stands. Again the brute beats her down. Again she rises, maybe 4, maybe 6 times, each time more slowly, more unsteadily, more weak. I see this. This is evil. This is torture. She still lives. She still moves. She still breathes. She sees. She hears. She senses in more ways than we know. Her beautiful, now bulging eyes see. Her delicate, now dripping ears hear. Her body and soul sense and know. She knows. And so do I. I know what I've seen here. Now so do you, dear reader. But we do not know what we did not see. We did not see what happened next. Maybe my mind has blocked out what happened next. Maybe it was not shown to us. Maybe it is too evil to face. What was next, of course, was the killing, the murder, the slaughter. Hey, you brutal, evil-doing humanoid with your oh-so-powerful rod, you ignorant sicko, what did you do next, eh? Maybe he indulged himself in more torturing. In my heart, what I saw when I saw this torture, I became full of shame to be a human, and I wanted to stand in the way, take that rod, beat that brute into that concrete. And I still want to do that. The innocent animals everywhere. Oh no, sorry, Mr. Page. Yeah, so I wanted to scream, pray, weep, rage, and I did all this afterwards in stages. I turned those strong, strong energies into actions, writing, performances. I am now a voice for animals. What they do to innocent animals is evil. They tortured her and all who passed there before. The dear animal beings still lived and were conscious. I wanted to be there with her, to stop the evil being done to her. Somehow I wanted to somehow take away all the pain from this dearest innocent animal being. Maybe, I thought, at very best, at very least, if I had seen the slaughter that inevitably followed that torture, I could have somehow shared the pain. Now, this is how I share that pain forward. Each time I speak of that evil, I share that pain. Also, each time I speak of those evils, I grow in strength. I pray in my own way that humans see the light and see it today. So not one more time will be of this hell, this cruelty. It can be different and will be. The innocent animals everywhere, in slaughterhouses and everywhere, they speak here now through me. They speak. Would you torture your children, grandmothers, babies, friends? We are sentient beings, every bit as sentient and sensitive as humans, and more, so much more. The truth will finally out. When I saw this hell on earth, I made a vow. My dear, sweet, innocent creature, my dear, sweet animal being, I will be your voice. I will be a voice for all who, like you, suffer at the hands of humans. I will gather every strength I can to show to the world of the human the evil done to you this day. Dearest animal beings, human greed and ignorance have brought this evil unto you this day. Dear readers, thank you, for you have been here with me through this most terrible of events. Following, there will be debate and conclusions, etc. May angel blessings be with all animal beings always. That's it for now. Bye-bye.